pray in our individual ways first in 5 seconds or 30 seconds, please. Bismillah. Amen. I welcome you all to this important webinar. Yeah, I welcome you to all this important webinar. This is an honor and privilege to host this important webinar organized by Gambian Executive 9 Executive on the topic Unlocking Opportunity, Entrepreneurship and Business Planning for Gambian Students. So my name is Bakar Jane. I am second year student at Sada University, Greater Norida, pursuing bachelor's in international accounting and finance. So alongside with me is my co-host, Fatima. Fatima, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, welcome back to another webinar, another monthly webinar of Gambian. My name is Fatma Fati. Today I will be your co-host for today's webinar. I am a continuing student at PCT Group of Institute, currently pursuing her Masters of Business Administration. So stay tuned and learn from our brilliant minds uh, from entrepreneurship to business development. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatima. Yeah, uh, we hope to learn from great. Sorry, let me put my camera on. I hope it is clear. Um, yeah, the second in the agenda is we will welcome remark by the president. But before that, I think this is a very important topic that we are going to discuss about entrepreneurship and business planning. Uh, this world, we all know the world is business entrepreneurship. That not everybody can be employed by the government. So we are a student today, but we hope that tomorrow when we graduated, we will go and work. So we don't expect government to employ all of us. So we need knowledge about entrepreneurship to be innovative and so that we can, when we go back, at least we even without the employment of government, we can start our own business or be innovative uh, for the development of the country. So we will not waste much time because we have only 1 hour or so for this program. So, Mr. President, if you are around, can you give us a welcome remark?
May I confirm my audibility?
Yes, you are well audible.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. Jane, and of course to the co-host who is Miss Fatmata Fati. So I think today's speech, or I would say opening speech, I'd quote from the Alcalo of Delhi, who is Mr. Bojang, who once said, in the world of commerce, information is capital, and every discussion like this is an investment into a better tomorrow. So distinguished speakers in our midst, esteemed members of the Association of Gambian Students in India, our able moderators who are Mr. Jane and of course Ms. Fati, and every other individual that is joining us from across the globe. I said a wonderful good evening from the Indian side, and I suppose it's good afternoon for those joining from the Gambia, and probably in the US it will be a wonderful good morning. So it is with great honor and of course a deep sense of purpose that I welcome you to this timely webinar. on the theme Unlocking Opportunities, Entrepreneurship, and Business Planning for Gambian Students. So today's conversation is not just another academic exercise, it is an essential step in shaping the financial mindset and entrepreneurial spirit of Gambian youth in the diaspora, especially India. As an association preparing to usher in our Finance Week this December, this webinar could not have come at a better time. Finance Week is a moment where or when we will reflect on how we as students and of course future professionals can strengthen our financial literacy, build sustainable income streams, and of course prepare ourselves for the economic realities awaiting us after graduation. So today's dialogue, because I wouldn't just call it a webinar, lays that foundation beautifully. So our guest speakers, two brilliant young Gambians, I believe, Mr. Ebrima Dem and Mr. Muhammed Jawo, who would be introduced by our host in a GV, would be here, and of course we'll be setting reflections of what is possible when ambition meets planning and when ideas are nurtured into functioning enterprises. Their work with Le Jumbo demonstrates that young Gambians can innovate, of course, create jobs and shape industries even before completing their studies. Their journey is a message to every student here today. You do not need to wait for a degree to pursue a vision. So this webinar challenges us to think and rethink the way we approach opportunities. It reminds us that entrepreneurship is not only about starting a business, it is about cultivating a mindset of problem solving, of course, creativity and resilience. As we move into the Finance Week, which is next month, these principles become essential. We cannot talk about financial sustainability without talking about business planning, investment thinking, and the courage to explore new ventures. Therefore, I encourage all participants to absorb as much as possible from today's presentations and discussions we will be having here. Ask questions, take notes, reflect deeply. What you learn here has the potential to influence not only your financial habits, but also your long-term personal and professional trajectory. On behalf of GAMIN, through the Finance Ministry, of course, the Finance Committee, I extend heartfelt appreciation to our speakers, our moderators, and our Education Ministry in particular for being in the forefront of the logistical arrangement, that is for putting this program together. May this session open doors, broaden perspectives, and inspire action. Thank you all for joining us this night. And that being said, I, Sajo Ikejaju, the President of the 9th Executive Council of the Association of Gambian Students in India, declare this said webinar or session open. So let us begin. Thank you very much. Allah Baraka.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the welcoming remarks. So, as he said, I hope we all have our notebook around us to take notes during this important section. And yeah, he said it. We will have a question and answer section that will come maybe after the presentations and lecture from our speakers, great speakers. We have two speakers. Yeah, we will start with Ebrima Dem. Then after Mohammed will come later. So without wasting much time, the next is welcoming and introduction of our first guest speaker by moderator. Yes. Fatima, can you introduce our first speaker to us, please?
Okay, thank you so much, Bakari, for giving me this opportunity. I hope I'm audible and visible as well. Okay, tonight I know is going to be very, very special because I don't know, but this is the first of its kind, having two intellectual minds coming on a board on a webinar to tell us about one talking about entrepreneurship and the other one talking about business planning. So today our first speaker is going to be Ebrima Dem. I know all of you might be thinking, who is this Ebrima? Yes, we know that Ebrima is young, but a very, 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 very resolved, driven business developer. He is an entrepreneur and community impact advocate with a strong track record in strategic planning, in strategic planning and operational leadership and mentorship coordination. He currently serves as the founder and CEO of Dem's agency, where he leads business strategy, client acquisition, brand development, and digital transformation initiatives to support emerging businesses and entrepreneurs. Ebrima doesn't stop there. Yes, Mr. Dem also works as a business development executive and coordinator at Lejimbo, where he plays a key role in designing strategic programs, strengthening partnership, and enhancing mentorship system for youth development. His contribution in the Lejimbo platform has supported the empowerment of young entrepreneurs through structured guidance, training, and professional growth opportunity. Do you think that's where his biography stopped? You must be kidding yourself. Ibrahim is with a Bachelor of Science in Business Management and a minor in agriculture. He is not only business minded, but he is also an agriculturist from the University of the Gambia and a professional certificate in digital marketing. Wow. How can just one person be getting all these three? First, a business developer, a business management student. Second, an agriculturist, and then to digital marketing. And honestly,
Yeah, no.
from the Indian Institute of Technology, Mr. Dem blend academic insight with practical real-world business expertise. His career profile also include nearly a decade of experience in facility operation as deputy manager at Dem Kunda Housing, where he optimized management systems, streamlined operation, and strengthening tenant-focused services. He is a versatile leader with skills in business development, operational management, digital marketing, and strategic communication. Mr. Dem is committed to building innovative solutions that fuel community development and business growth. His interests span entrepreneurship, research, agriculture, and youth empowerment, reflecting his passion for driving impact at both grassroots and institutional level. Because and today he is here to impact add an impact to our life, like people like us who are at the verge of being an entrepreneur. So are we ready to learn from Mr. Dem? And can you please put your hands together? uh, can you show some virtual I don't know thumbs up for Mr. Dem so that he can educate us at least a bit? Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
much. Walaikum salam. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Fatima Fati, for that wonderful introduction. I hope I'm audible enough that you guys can see me.
Yeah, you are audible, but you are not yet visible.
Yes, just a moment. In this country, sometimes. Yeah, just a moment. It's not coming. Okay. How about now? I hope my camera is showing.
Yeah.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much, Fatima, and thank you so much, Bakari, as well. It is a pleasure to be here with you guys, and I hope I am audible enough, and also that you can see my face, right?
So you are well audible. You
Yes. Thank
visible.
you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Mustafa, for the opportunity that you guys have given us to be part of this program of yours. It is commendable that you guys have actually um, come up with this idea to enlighten young entrepreneurs that are vibrant, that are willing to make change in wherever they find themselves. So today's topic that I was given by Mustafa was centered around marketing in terms of when you want to do a business in the country. So I've prepared some slides that I will project while we go into today's deliberation. Okay. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, the slides are visible from my side.
Thank you. Yes, we often hear entrepreneurship, and there's a misconception between entrepreneurship and business. Though entrepreneurship is inside business, but entrepreneurship it's its own way, aside just being a business person. Entrepreneurs are those people that find problems and try to bring possibilities to those problems. But how do you go about finding a problem? That's where the marketing comes into place. So the market research and strategy is that strategy that you're going to use in terms of if you want to start any business, being it a business of a product or being in a business of a service. It doesn't matter whether you want to sell bread and butter or whatever, but as far as you have not conducted your market research or your strategies that you have put them in place, you'll find it difficult in the business world. Because in all the ecosystems, there are different value chains in all those ecosystems. So you need to know what value chain are you focused on in your business. So I will take you through a topic called the market research and strategy when we talk about entrepreneurship. So in that, we'll go to the next slide where we talk about someone is projecting it, please. Why is this not working? It's not open. Yes, sorry, some technical issues. This internet communication and things like that.
We understand. We can relate to that. That's Gambia for us.
Those technical issues. But I hope you can see the slides. So can someone please just says thumbs up? Yes, 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 yes. The slides are projecting. I hope you can see the slides, right? Is it moving? It's moving. Yes. Now we talk about why market research matters, right? They said before you start a business, you conduct a market research. So why do you need to conduct that market research? Why does it matter so much that you need to conduct the market research? So market research actually helps you to answer the following, which is who are your customers? Who are your customers? If you do not know the customers that you are selling the product or the service to, would you make the money? No, you wouldn't. Because what is important is to know the customers that you are selling the product to. How would they react to that particular product? So once you identify your target audiences, your target customers, that way, if you bring in a product or a service into a market system or into an ecosystem, now you already know who you are targeting. Now you already know who your product is meant for. Because the product that you're selling is not meant to be for everyone. There's a certain segmentation that you have already identified when you are conducting your market research that once you bring in this product or the service, this is a particular group that you're going to sell it. Let's take an example for Apple. So Apple actually, when they're making their Apple products, it's not meant for everyone. It's not meant for the pure person that is in, let's say, Donraba or whatsoever. It's meant for someone that is associated with class and someone that has the means to afford that particular product. So they understood who their customers are. So now, once you understand your customers, now you ask yourself, what do my customers want? So necessarily, you don't actually have to say, this is what my customers want. Go to them, do a research, ask them, what do you want? They will tell you, okay, this is the type of product that you want, and this is what is missing or on a particular product that we're using. So now you as a business owner, you know this is the gap between the product or the services that they're using at that moment. So now let's put it in a product perspective. If you say that you're selling a product A, and the product A that someone is using is actually not beneficial to them. So let's say, for example, it is pad for ladies, for instance. So the type of pad brand that they're using, they are feeling irritated. There is a lot of things that they are feeling outside on those pads, and they want to change the pad. You, that someone wants to come into business, how are you going to make sure that they understand that you are bringing in a new product? You go to them, get that data from them. The product that they're using now, what are the challenges that they're facing there? Are they facing challenges or they are comfortable with it? Would they be willing to use the new product that you are offering to them? So now they're telling you what they want before you actually bring in the product in the market. So how much would they pay for that particular product as well? It should be part of the research that you're going to make. What will be the purchasing power, the presence that they think that they will be able to pay for that particular product that you are bringing in the market or for the service that you're going to sell to them? So if they know that, okay, this is how you're going to price it, or now when they tell you, this is how much I'm willing to buy the product. Now you as the service provider or the product developer, you already know how much are you going to spend or how much are you going to price that particular commodity that you are selling to people, because you have gotten that information from the people. So once you price it at the price, people will actually buy because you already have that data from people that have actually answered your surveys. So who are your competitors as well? They matter, because your competitors helps you in having what we call the market, the unique value propositions. So if you have those unique value propositions, you will know what are the edges or where should I put myself so that my customers will not be able to compete with me. We'll get to the slide as well. So in the meantime, let's proceed. So the importance of market research, it saves you money. Yes. Let's put it in simple perspective. How does a market research saves you money? Let's say, for instance, I wanted to start a business. So I develop a product that no one knows about the product. And the product cost over $1 million to build. And then I bring into the market. Maybe the market that I brought the product to is the wrong market because I did not conduct my market research. And I expect people to come and buy that particular product. But people do not relate to the product that you have brought into the market, or they do not relate to the service that you have brought in. Now, what happened to the $1 million investment that you made earlier? It is a waste, it is a loss. But how do you save that $1 million is by you making the market research previously before you bring in the product. So now you have the idea. This is the idea that I have, and this is the product that I want to make. Come to the market, do your market visibility, and let them tell you how they're going to react to that particular product. So once you know how they're going to react to that particular product, now the money that you were supposed to spend on the product is saved because now you know whether you're going to spend more or less. So now, once you conduct the market research and you save your money, there's one other thing that you're going to also realize if you're conducting your market research, which is called the revealing of the opportunities. So there are so many opportunities that you're going to find out once you conduct the market research, because the market research helps you to know the gaps. And once you know those gaps that are within the industry or the ecosystem that your business falls in, you already know now what should I do to be different from my competitors, because there are so many opportunities that are there. You already saw those gaps that others did not see. You already saw those gaps that your business competitors did not see, because what you did, you conducted a market research. So now, if you have done that already and you have realized that there are so many opportunities, you have reduced the failure of risks. You have reduced the failure of risks in a sense that your business now will not encounter what we call the risks, because that's what we call risk mitigation before you start your business. So the risk mitigation is what are the calculated risks that you have calculated or have foreseen in the near future that you don't want your business to experience that. But if you do not calculate the risks ahead, your business will experience a risk that you have never been prepared for. But if a risk is coming, if a threat is coming and you have been preparing or you have prepared for that threat, what will happen to the business? The business will still be afloat because you have contingency plans that were there. That's why the market research it's also going to help you to reduce the failure of risks. So it also builds the investor confidence. Let's assume you meet someone, you guys are in India, you meet someone, you have a business idea, and then you want that investor to invest into your business. The investor will want to know what is your product or what is your service. That's one. And if they know about that, they want to know the market that you're going to sell your product to. They want to know the volume of customers that you have. They want to know what are what will be the reaction of those customers. How are they going to react to the particular product or the service that you're going to bring? So they need those data and facts. But if you just say, oh, I have this business there and I want to do this and I want you to give me this money to go and implement this business. But if without backing it with facts that you have already conducted the market research that the business is going to work, would they react to it? Would they give you their money to invest? Would they have the confidence to invest into a business? But once you show them a data that when you were about to bring in the business, you have actually conducted a market research, then they will now trust the idea and invest into that idea. Now investors invest in two forms. It's either they invest in the person or they invest on the business. So if they're going to invest on the business, they need that data, that factual data, because business is governed in two forms: marketing and sales. So the sales, who are you selling? You're selling to customers. So if you're selling to these customers and you're not showing me an insightful data that, okay, this the business idea that you are having or the product that you're going to sell, people are going to react to it. Would they? They will not, because they're not seeing seriousness in you. So now there are two types of research in terms of market research when it comes to business. So we have the primary research and we have the secondary research. So within the primary research, we have surveys that you could do. So the surveys could be Google Forms, could be focus group discussions, could be you doing observations, going to the business and doing observations, or just go to a market. Let's say, for instance, Serakunda market. You go there, sit yourself at one juncture, and then start doing surveys or trying to conduct data and try to get interviews from these persons. Recently, if you have been watching recent news, we have seen Mamdani in America, New York. He won the recent mayoral election in New York. So when the mayoral election started, if you go to his TikTok page, he has been conducting public interviews to know, for them to give them the data as to what they're feeling within New York. So he used that as an advantage to overpower his competitors. So now, in that research as well, when you're conducting a primary research, you don't need necessarily have to just sit and be like, okay, the data will show and things like that. You need to go out there and seek for that data. So on the secondary research now, that's where you have the Google data and then the industry reports. So the industry report, let's say, for example, you find yourself in an agricultural ecosystem. Their researches the rights and then they publish it on their websites. Go to the industry that you find your business in, get data from there, utilize this data and try to make meaningful information out of it. So these are the type of research that you can also utilize when you're about to start your business. So now the tools for market research, you have the Google Forms. Recently, we have the WhatsApp polls. I think those that are using WhatsApp will testify to that. We have the WhatsApp polls, we have the Instagram polls, and we have the Google Trends, and then the Facebook groups. But I will not focus on much on the Google Forms because I believe we all know about the Google Forms, how you're supposed to generate um, data from that, and the WhatsApp posts as well, the Instagram. But my main focus would be on the Google Trends. So those of you that are in India, if you just tap on Google Trends and then you will see recent search histories, tap just a particular product or a service. What is the most recent search? Last 24 hours, last 7 days, what are those things that people keep on searching on Google every single day? So now you will see a huge chunk amount of data that you could utilize and know this is a particular product that people are always demanding, or this is something that they are always searching. Maybe they're searching for something related to sports. On that, you will now realize what information or what business can I derive from this data that these people are searching on Google Trends. You make something out of it because it is data, right? So now we move on to Facebook groups. All of us use social media nowadays. There are a lot of groups that people share. Buy Apple Gambia, shop me, and things like that. You go there, be in the group chat. No information that is shared is meaningless. Every information that you see, please just put a pause and read that information and know whether that information reflects on what you're looking for or not before you continue. So we move next to the competitor analysis. So the competitor analysis, when you're conducting your competitor analysis, you need to focus on certain key elements, which are what do your competitors sell? What do they sell? So now once you know this is what my competitor does, there are two types of competitors. You have the indirect one, you have the direct one. Let's say you find yourself as a cows owners. We have those that are situated in the petrol stations and things like that. So now the service that you offer, there is someone that is offering the service indirectly. Maybe they are not branded, maybe they are not known like technicality on the internet and things like that, but they are competitors because they are having those customers that you need. So what do they sell? How do you know them? Is by researching on your competitors. No, these are my competitors. These are the direct ones, and this is how they sell, and this is the product that they're selling, or this is the services that they're offering. So once you identify that now, know the pricing as well. How are they pricing their business? Are they pricing at a high price? Are they pricing at a low price? Are they pricing on an average price? Are they making losses or are they making profits? Because the prices will be able to determine that. So you don't necessarily have to go to the competitor and be like, yo, how are you selling this? Or who's your supplier and things like. They will not tell you. They don't care about. They will also secure their business because it's something that they do not share. So one strategy that I use, in fact, if I'm trying to, if I want to know what my competitors are doing, I go there, and if it is a service provider, I go there, I allow them to render me a service. I pay for the service. If they charge me, okay, this is the service, I pay it. And I look at the customer, how to call it, how they deal with me as a customer. So everything as in the business matters, from the customer, how you deal with your customers, from how you sell, from everything, every single look and cranny of the business matters. So now I will be able to know that this is how they are pricing their businesses. So this is also their strengths as a business owner, and this is the weaknesses as well. So now comes the big game. What can I do better? Now that I know this is what my competitor do, I now ask myself, what can I do better to make sure that people will leave that business and comes to me? Because business is about selfishness. So if you do not know your game, people will not respect your business. But if you know your game to the core, people will leave other businesses and come to you because what they need is utility, satisfaction that they derive in that business. So what are you going to do different? Now that's where the competitor analysis is going to help you. So now, once you conduct entire research now, what do you need? You turn the research into a strategy, right? And the strategy that you're going to turn it to is the target market. I made mention of it earlier. Know your customers. The target market is the people that you're going to sell to. That's what we call the unique target market. Those that are reacting to a product that you are selling. Not everyone in a market is okay. For instance, you say Gambia, the population is about 2.7. The entire 2.7 is not your customers. You need to identify who your customers are. The market segmentations helps you to know that. If you know that these are my customers, the 2.7 will not be the one to subscribe to your business. But maybe within the 2.7, over 100,000 or 200,000 or 700,000 are subscribing to your business. These are your target audiences. So now the product differentiation is the unique value proposition. That's why we call it the UVP. What is that uniqueness in your business that is making that you are different from your competitors? So this is also the strategies that you need to identify as a business owner. Your prices as well, whether you're going low or you're going high, depends on the quality that you are selling or the quality of the service or the product that you are selling. So the distribution as well is important. How are you distributing your product? Do you make it very easy for your customers? Let's say, for instance, today we have e-commerce, all right? You're selling a particular product, you're in India and I'm in Gambia. You can as well sell it online. You don't necessarily have to wait to come back to Gambia to sell me that particular product because there are Gambian e-commerce platforms that you can subscribe to and then sell your products online and people can actually buy it because once you do it that, now the distribution channel between you and the e-commerce platform that you subscribe to will make that particular product to reach to its original customer. So now the marketing comes in place. What are the marketing strategies that you're going to use? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to use referrals? Are you going to use television adverts? Are you going to use banners, posters? These are the things, the tools that you need to utilize when you're making your market strategies. Because now the strategy is the one that is going to bring in certain things later on, which I will talk about, which is about the marketing will help you to talk about certain things in which I will deliberate on in the next slide. But now the customer retention. How are you going to retain your customers? It will also be manifested in the next slide. Let's go there. So now we have the marketing strategies. We talk about the visibility. I said earlier, the marketing strategies that you're going to use, whether it's social media and things like that, what does it give you? It gives you visibility. So if it gives you visibility now, what is that perception that you want people to perceive when they see your product? If they see your product, okay, what do you want them to see? You either want them to see value. You don't care whether the price is written on a particular product or not. What do you care about them to see? They see the value in that particular product, and they will resonate and feel a trust in that product that you are selling. Because if there's no trust in your business, people will not subscribe to you. People will not actually buy. People care about these things. People care about value and trust in a particular product or a service. So now in your marketing strategies, if you are selling your business, sell it based on value and trust. Do not sell it because you want to sell the brand. Once you sell it on value and trust, the brand will go for itself. You don't necessarily have to be, oh, my brand is Dems Agents or my brand is Legimbo. That's it. No, 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 no. The brand is the value and the brand is the trust. The trust that you built between you and your customers, that is how you're going to retain them. And if you retain one particular customer and he comes back to subscribe to your business again, Kokunono is almost what we call the pastor is what we call the customer loyalty. You have already bought the loyalty of that customer. Customer would love to buy. Let's just put it in simple perspective. That we visit our barbers every now and then. If our barber gives us the very perfect shape, do we go to another barber? No, we stick to that barber because we are satisfied with what the barber did. So now the examples of the marketing strategies that you can utilize is the social media referrals and partnerships that you can utilize. So now I made mention earlier. I said business works in two forms: marketing and sales. So now the sales is know your customers, the buying decisions, and the motivations and objections. So there's a method that you can use. In this method, it's called the IDA method. The method is simple and is very visible as well. Make sure you first create awareness on a particular product that you are selling or the service. And if you create that awareness now, the customer will build an interest in knowing more about what your business is all about. And if they build an interest, they will have the desire to take an action of your particular product. Now, I know we will not have that much of time to deliberate more on the story of Mukesh Ambani on his industry takeover, but I will ask you to go and do a research on his industry takeover because he monopolized the industry in terms of telecom, and he's invested over $25 billion as a loss because what he was trying to do, he was trying to play cards that later came back to his favor, and he driven all of other businesses back in 2016. So you can check on that, and you would be able to have a lot of insights on the marketing strategies that he utilized when he was coming into the telecom industry, because he dealt with them and he did what we call the market takeover. He monopolized the entire industry. So now, coming back to Gambian context, you those people that want to invest in the Gambia, talk to the communities, understand their income levels, what do they earn, how much do they earn, would they be very well people that will subscribe to this business. You don't necessarily have to come back to the Gambia to start the business. You can start the business where you are today, whether you are in America, whether you are in India, because those markets are big. So start there, grow it, and your business will be now international. So if your business is global, it makes it very easy for you. So the culture and preferences to as to what the product or the service that you're offering them, you need to also know how would they feel on the particular product culturally, and whether the preference to the particular product is there. So what are their daily struggles? What are those things that they need every single day, but they're finding it difficult to get? Our electricity is bad, food shortage is scarce. Farmers are finding it difficult in terms of their produce. Storages are problems. So these are their daily struggles. So what can you do differently, you as an entrepreneur? So in conclusion, there's a famous saying is, don't fall in love with your idea. Fall in love with your customer's problem. Because if you fall in love with your idea, you're trying to solve only your problem. But if you fall in love with your customer's problem, you are trying to solve thousands of problems that people are facing, and they are unique problems. So he says, influence earns you trust, integrity helps you to keep that trust, and goal alignment helps you to find that purpose. Thank you so much for having me.
Bakari, are you there?
Yeah, I'm around. One minute. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Dem, for that insightful presentation about market research matters. Yeah, I think you talk about market research, uh, which is all about the customer, what he want, what he need, the prices and the competitors in the market. So you discover about the importance also of marketing and research, which where you can save money, you will see the opportunities and reduce the failure of risks. After researching, you will there will be it will reduce the risks involved in the business and building investors' confidence also. Investors will have confidence in you. So you talk about the competitive analysis. So yeah, in business, I think it's very important to know your competitors and what they are doing and what they and what they are doing so that will help you to improve yourself. Yeah, turning research into strategy. Yeah, you cannot do a strategy and leave it there. So that research will turn it a strategy where you have your strategy plans and so that the business can grow up. So you talk about the marketing strategy, sales strategy, and also all the discussion we put it into government context. How how this research, market research, will help us to improve our business so that we can have profitability and so. So in no sale, you say, yeah, as the Nigerian said, customer is always right. So you follow the customer. So whatever customer said is the right thing. So that's what the Nigerians say, and I think that's a good. Yeah, if you want to retain your customers, you should look for what they want and what they are doing. So, my co-host Faru, if you have anything to add before we have our next agenda.
Yeah, honestly, Ibrahim, thank you so much. I must say I'm inspired today, honestly speaking, even though I have been learning some of these things since my bachelor's, but then I'm very, very, very much inspired. Starting from your market research to talking about knowing your customers and competitors and the importance of risk mitigation, which I know is very, very important because even our Indian teachers, sometimes I will not understand their language, but they emphasize on this, yeah, a lot. And then you talking about your marketing, two aspect of business, that is marketing and sales. I mean, if you don't market your product properly, honestly speaking, it's going to be difficult to get to your right customers, which you have rightly point out. And you've talked about the SWOT analysis, which I very much love. It's very good because you have to know your strength, weakness, and the opportunities that you have as a business, and your threat, which were your competitors that you were talking about. Saja, I did not say SWOT. I said SWOT. If you are not a business student, you will not be able to understand these terms properly. That's why I say you should sit and learn. Okay. And then, and you also talk about trust. And then that IDA method that you said, my friend's name is Ida, so I don't think I will forget that IDA method. And also, the last thing that you say, don't fall in love with your ideas, fall in love with your customers' problem. That's where feedbacks come into being. Thank you so much, honestly speaking.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So anyone that has questions, please, we open up for questions as well.
We sorry, Ibrahim, we will do that after Mr. Jao.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah. So our next agenda that we have is the second speaker of the house. Today that we have is Ibrahim, who is going to be sorry, Mr. Jao, who is going to be taking us through the entrepreneurial journey. from listening to the inspiration that you have just pulled out. So we will move into Muhammed Jawo. I know Flores like eating too much, but please don't come here and be talking about food, okay? Okay. Mr. Jawo is a passionate educator, researcher, and entrepreneur dedicated to empowering the next generation of leaders through innovation, mentorship, and strategic development. He currently lectures in the International Undergraduate Program at the Faculty of Economics and Business, University of I cannot pronounce this university, but it is in Indonesia, where he teaches courses in entrepreneurship and business strategy planning. A final year PhD candidate in management at the University of Brawijaya. Mr. Jawa's research explores the nexus between entrepreneurial mindset, resilience, and sustainable business growth, particularly among youth entrepreneurs in the Gambia. His recent publication in the Journal of Behavioral Science in 2025, titled Entrepreneurial Mindset as a Predictor of Resilience Among Gambian Youth Entrepreneurs, has been widely recognized for its insight into adaptability and the transformative power of mindset. Beyond the academia, Mr. Jawa is the founder and coordinator of Lejimbo Mentorship Program, an initiative that has trained and mentored about 500 young entrepreneurs across multiple cohorts since its inception. He also serves as the founder and CEO of Lejimbo, an e-commerce venture focused on digital innovation and sustainable business model. He worked His work has earned him invitations as a speaker, mentor, and judge in international entrepreneurship competition, including at the East Java International Student Experience and the Scuba Innovation Challenge at the University of Brawijaya. His academic contributions span reputable journals such as Springer, Animal Insights, and the Journal of Industrial and Production Engineering. Mr. Jao combines both academic rigor with practical leadership to foster creativity, resilience, and global entrepreneurial mindset among the youth. So, Mr. Jao, if you are ready, we are ready to be inspired tonight for the second time in a row. Let's put our hands together in a virtual way for Mr. Jao to come in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I requested Mustafa to share my slides so the coordinator can project it. Was it shared, please? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone. I extend my sincere thanks to the president of your association, I think it's Mr. Jaju, and the entire executives and the coordinators, the host of this wonderful webinar, and basically to everyone that is in this webinar right now. And thank you, Fatima, as well. And kudos to Ebrima Dem for that wonderful presentation on market research. So I will continue the session to speak about business plan essentials. So I'll focus more on the pathways that you can create a good business. And when we talk about business plan, it's not just about business plan, but a bankable business plan, a plan that can actually entice investors to invest in your business. So I think Fatima did a good job in introducing me. So yeah, but I am currently lecturing at the Faculty of Economics and Business. See what if it announced my university. It's University of Brawijaya. It's in Indonesia. I was also a former lecturer at the University of the Gambia, and I was lecturing entrepreneurship. Yeah, so I am both in the corporate side and in academics as well. And it is an absolute pleasure to share some of the experience and expertise with you guys. And hopefully it will be something that can propel your, entrepreneurial ventures that you guys want to create. Because I've always been saying something that entrepreneurship is actually for everyone. It does not matter what field of study you are in, even if you are doing medicine. If you graduate and have a pharmacy, you are into business. If you study law, you graduate, you build a law firm and you get clients. As far as you're dealing with customers and you're providing a product or a service in exchange for money, then you are in business. Now, next slide, please. Let's explore what entrepreneurship is all about. I just don't want to dive into business plan without us getting a core understanding of what entrepreneurship is all about. If you are aspiring entrepreneurs, it is important to understand that entrepreneurship is a process. I want you guys to highlight that word process. It's a process. And when I say process, it involves a lot of things. The journey of being an entrepreneur is like a zigzag. So you have ups and downs. So it's a process. And this process, as you can see from your slides, is the process of identifying business opportunities in the marketplace. But now, when you identify opportunities, what do you do? Because if you identify an opportunity, you just cannot go and start a business. You need to gather the resources first to be able to exploit that opportunity. And those resources categorically are basically capital, the talent you need, and also the necessary infrastructure. So a lot of people get stuck at this point because they don't have access to finance. The research I conducted and a lot of research done in the Gambia, one of the key challenges for young entrepreneurs is lack of capital. So that is why business plan is important, because your plan actually can help you generate funding, or it can help you entice investors to invest in your business. Now, when you get these resources, what do? Then you solve that problem through value creation. And when we say value creation, what you are doing this through the production of, or through the development of either a product or a service, or the combination of both. And when you do this, of the risks involved. Okay. Someone said, "Tell us how to make money without working." Yes, so you can actually make money without working, but you have to be. And then once you are able to multiply your money, if you are able to gather assets and not liabilities, you can go to sleep while making money. And when you reach that stage, that is the stage we call wealth. And when you get to that stage, then things should be fine. But it all starts here. It starts now. It starts from this point where you have to come up with a business idea and then come up with a business plan. So the last point in understanding the entrepreneurship process is that it is risky. Okay, so you have to take note of the risks involved. And this is general, not only in entrepreneurship. Anything you do in life, it comes with risk. But life itself without risk is risky. So you have to be able to take risk. What we advise within the entrepreneurial domain is to calculate your risk. You don't just get up and take risks like that. And one of the best ways to calculate your risk is what Ebrima Dem was talking about. You do your market research, so you get the accurate data. Next, please. Now, if we get the concept of business, the concept of entrepreneurship rather, now we explore how to identify viable business ideas. And these are sources that you can actually tap into to actually come up with an idea. Because some people are really confused on, okay, they know they want to start a business. They know they want to become an entrepreneur, but they don't really understand, where to start from. So the first thing is to observe customers actually need, so you can do this by doing your earlier. If you understand what customers, and this is different with each country. There are very in US, you're in the Gambia, you're in India. Depending on the geographical location that you are conducting your business, you can do a research to identify what customers need. And please observe the daily challenges. As a person, you so we have 24 hours in a day, right? How many times in those 24 hours are you making use of either a product or service? You can't really count them. Everything basically that you use during the day is either it is a product or a service. Now, are you really observing the problems that you are facing in those products? Because you can actually identify a lot of loopholes that can give you hints about a possible business idea to fix that problem. Okay, and you can also look at existing products. So when you have a product, for instance, I personally, when I purchase, let's say a headset, or I have a laptop, or I have anything that is a product, I'm trying to look at the product and trying to identify what are the gaps in this product, what is giving me difficulty in this product. I don't know if you've encountered this, but sometimes you purchase, a bottle of water, or you purchase, a can or something just to have a soft drink, and you realize that it is extremely difficult to open the cap. All these are real problems that you're facing, so you can come up with something better than that. We're not advising you to do what we call copycat. Do not copy a business and paste. And this is a problem with lots of Gambian entrepreneurs. We copy a lot. And when we look at the types of entrepreneurs, there are basically 4 main types. We have innovative entrepreneurs. We have copycat entrepreneurs. We call them copycat because they are imitating entrepreneurs. And we have drone entrepreneurs, and we have Fabian entrepreneurs. Okay, so quickly, innovative entrepreneurs, we know them. They innovate. They come up with something absolutely new. Copycat entrepreneurs, they copy and paste. And Gambia, this is our problem. I don't know if you guys were in the Gambia sometime 3 years ago. There was something that came up. It was called the popcorn business. Suddenly, the entire Gambia was saturated with popcorn business. We have seen it in the real estate industry. When they see Tough and some other players doing well, everyone went into real estate, without that is why we have a lot of scams going on. Okay, there are few reliable ones. Of course, DEMS agency is part of the reliable ones, but it has happened a lot, and this is because they are copying and pasting. So Fabian entrepreneurs, these are entrepreneurs that do not actually embrace change instantly, so they don't flow with innovation. And a typical example is Nokia. Nokia suffered a lot. They were on top of the market, and innovation came in. They don't want to embrace innovation. That is why Apple came and overtook them. Right now, Nokia are creating amazing phones, but no one is using them, okay, because they are left behind. And drone entrepreneurs, quickly, these are basically family businesses, so they stick to their traditional way of doing business, and they don't want to change. Okay, so the category you want to fall under is innovative entrepreneurs. There is something you can do in this point that I spoke about existing products. You can do what we call benchmarking. You can actually observe a product and not a product. You can observe a company and everything they do, their services, their products, and everything. And then ask yourself, what can I do better? If you come up with something better, then you are not a copycat, but you are an innovative entrepreneur because you did what we call benchmarking, right? And you can also get ideas from the government. There are government initiatives that actually need support from entrepreneurs. If you go to business model, this model is called B2G, business to government. So let's say, for instance, the immigration department in the Gambia, we've had recently that basically all government offices recently, they want to digitalize everything, especially the payment system. Who do you think are creating these applications for them and all these systems? They are business persons, they are entrepreneurs. And that is why you can actually, come up with something that is related to the government. And we have distribution channels. You can find a viable idea with this, especially in countries that are still developing. In the Gambia, you ask yourself, if you need something, we have seen a lot of delivery companies coming up recently, yeah? But is there anything that needs improvement? Ask yourself, and you can find yourself within. For those in India, I don't know about India much, but in Indonesia, it's actually very easy to, like, if I want to visit you, I don't even need to know your place. You just need to send me the address. Few clicks, I have a driver at my doorstep, and within few minutes, I'm in your place. So you can explore these ideas. The last one is R&D. R&D is research and development. So I will not dive much into that because Ebrima Dem already spoke about that. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the next slide actually talks about the methods that we can use in generating business ideas. Now, you know the viable business ideas, right? But what are the specific methods that you can use to come up with ideas, okay? First is focus group. You can actually do focus group, which is more of a structured discussion where entrepreneurs can actually gather viable information from customers, because you need to interview customers. And all these things is, if you observe properly, it's all falling back to data. It's all coming back to research data. Because here's the thing, when you're about to start a business, at that point, you do not have enough knowledge or data with regards to what you want to do or what to expect. So the best way is to get the data, because without data, then you are just moving on in a way that is like, I don't know how to call it, but we can say you are moving without a proper plan. You cannot actually develop your business plan properly without having correct data. And if you do not have a plan, it means you are already planning to fail, right? So that's one area. The second thing is to do what we call brainstorming. Okay, but before I talk about brainstorming, do not generate ideas with the notion that you do not actually need data, because a lot of people will say, fine, I will just bulwark this idea. No, you need data. Even if you have an idea, you need certain data to see if your idea is actually viable in the country you want to operate your business in, right? Because if you do not do that, you fall under the category called CHEM. There's this notion called CHEM. It's CHEM, CHEM. The C stands for crisis, the H stands for hope, the E stands for extrapolation, and M stands for mystery. So we do not have time to explore this, but under the hope, it means you are going into business with the hope that things will get better. Fine, if your hope works, it's okay. But if it does not work, then that is something that you have to look at, because you did not get the data that you needed, right? So brainstorming, coming back to brainstorm. So brainstorm is basically you sit to find solutions. And there are two ways to this. You have brainstorming and you have reverse brainstorming. You can do both. I personally love reverse brainstorming, because the reverse version is actually amazing, you know. A fun fact, I love anything that is reverse. I love it. Like, reverse things are always mysterious because they are more related to psychology. So brainstorming is actually where you find a problem. So let's say you are a company, right? And you are not able to make sales, you know, you are not able to have sales. Now you sit with your employees and you are trying to find solutions to why there are no sales. That is brainstorming. You are brainstorming ideas. It's the same with coming up with a business. You sit and you try to identify problems, and then you try to come up with solutions to those problems. So you are finding solutions. Now let's look at the reverse version. It's interesting because the reverse version, let's go back to the product. Let's say you are not selling a product. For over a month, you are not selling anything. Instead of finding solutions, you call your employees, and now you are looking at ways to make that problem worse. That is reverse brainstorming. So you start by making the problem worse. What I mean by making the problem worse is you ask your employees, how can we make our company so bad in a way that our product will not even sell for the next 5 months? Then they start bringing ideas that are making the product worse. So when you identify all these bad things, now if you eradicate those bad things, then your product will sell. That is the reverse version. So it's like you sit down and then you identify all the negative things in the Gambia. Now, when you remove those negative things, what happens? We have progress. So that is the reverse version. You can also do problem inventory analysis, which is related to, of course, looking at the problems, like I said earlier, looking at products and looking at the problems in the products to come up with something better. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So now let's look at the Gambian context. These slides will be shared. I will share these slides to Mustafa. So Mustafa can share the slides with you later on. So if you need to go back to the slides to get some insights. I also have a complete guide of a business plan that I have been using in my classes and in the mentorship programs. It is actually very detailed, because in this webinar, we are short of time. So I'm explaining things briefly, but I have a complete guide of a business plan that you can use and develop your complete bankable business plan. If you follow that guide, it is a generally standard business plan guide that will ensure that all the necessary sections you need to have a complete bankable business plan is actually there. So I will share those resources after this webinar, so no worries. But these are the key things or assessments that we have to look at especially within the Gambia context, with some global context as well. But first is the market demand, like what does your customer need? We've already talked about that. The second is the financial viability. You ask yourself, is this business viable financially? Like, it's really important, because if you do not fix your finances, it will be very difficult to maintain your business, because you have to maintain your operating costs. And when you're not making profits, or you're not finding ways to generate revenue to be able to keep up with your operations, then you will not be able to succeed as you desire, right? The other one is competitive advantage, which comes back to your competitors. So I will explain that more later when I'm talking about the business plan, because Ebrima Dem actually spoke about your direct competitors, the indirect ones. I also had Fatima debating with someone with SWOT analysis. So it's SWOT, yeah. Fatima said SWOT, actually. I think they were just trying to disturb you. But we also have resource accessibility. Okay, you ask yourself, the resources you want, is it accessible? Because at this point, you have to be very, very realistic. Let's say, for instance, you are a young aspiring entrepreneur. Then let's say you are doing BSc. You finish your BSc, you return to Gambia, and the first thing you want to do is you want to have an airline company. You want to have an airline company, and you want to call it Dem's Airlines instantly. Now, where will you get all those resources and structure in the Gambia to build an airline company within 3 months or 6 months? So logically, it's going to be very difficult. That is why you have to, check these things to make sure that you actually have the resources you need. The second to last one is the regulatory environment, meaning the ecosystem. When you get back to Gambia, I personally would advise you to visit GCCI and visit the Gambia Youth Chamber of Commerce. Like GCCI, if you go there, you talk to them, you explain that you want to start this particular business, you have people that will help you. They will sit with you and guide you properly. These institutions are in the Gambia to help businesses grow, but a lot of people don't actually make use of them. And the last one is to take action. You need to start small and grow. Okay, you don't actually need to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. It's one step at a time. You don't need to worry about all these big businesses you see. They all started somewhere, but as you grow, you keep learning, and if you are learning, of course, development and improvement will come, right? So next, please. Let's now dive into business plan. I understand we do not have much time, but let's talk about the components of a business plan now. I needed to touch on entrepreneurship a bit for you to have the core concept, because if you don't get the core concept, it will be very difficult to just jump into a business plan like that. But now that we are on the business plan itself, now what is a business plan? A business plan is simple. There are 3 stages, right? When the idea is in your mind, at that point you call it a business idea. When you transform that idea, or when you shift the idea from your mind into a written document, then it's called a business plan. So it's simple. When you jot down your idea, now we don't write anymore, we type, yeah? So in here, the definition is a written plan. But if your idea is in a written document, it's a business plan. If it is not in a written document, it's not a business plan. Why? Because your business idea is an idea because it is in your mind, and your mind is only is exclusive to you. What happens if you go to bed and you do not wake up tomorrow? Then you die with the idea, right? But when you put it down, even if you are not available tomorrow, someone or your partner can utilize that to actually explore that idea. That is why the jotting down the idea is important. Okay. Now, when you transform that idea into a presentation format, that is what we call pitch deck. That is when you go and pitch in front of investors. Okay. So a business plan is essentially a written document that includes the goals and objective of your business and how you want to attain them. That is everything you find in the business plan. Okay. Now let's explore them one after the other. Can you go to the next slide, which is the executive summary? The executive summary is one of the most important sections in your plan. Okay. Why? Because some investors really do not have time to read your entire plan from the onset. Like, you can meet an investor and they are really very, very busy. Most of them would check your executive summary. Usually it's a 1-page document, 1 to 2 pages max. When they check your executive summary, if it is something interesting, then they keep your plan. If it is not interesting, then they just dispose of your plan. So you need to make sure your executive summary is well developed, okay? So note this, the executive summary appears first in your business plan document, but you write the executive summary last. I see a lot of people making this mistake. You cannot summarize something that is not written. For instance, if one of your executive members want to summarize this webinar right now, is it possible to write a summary before the webinar? They can only summarize after the webinar. It's the same with the plan. Okay, so you write the executive summary last. When you are done with the entire plan, you write a summary. But in the document, when someone is reading your document, it appears first. Okay, so next please, let's look at the company description. Now, the next stage is the company description. And when you are preparing your plan, I want you to follow this outline, because the business plan also has an outline. You cannot start your business plan, and when you say executive summary, straight you jump into finances or you jump into marketing. No, you need to have a synchronization of the steps. If somebody reads your executive summary, they should see your company information. It has to flow, you know, and that is why I'm providing that document, which of course it includes the entire guide. If you follow that document, you should be fine in preparing your business plan. But in the company description, this is where it includes your mission, your proposition, core values, your principal members. So here you explain everything briefly. You do not need to explain things in depth, because you will discuss some of these things later. But what is important is you need to be able to differentiate between your mission and your vision. A lot of people will tell you mission is short term and vision is long term. Well, that is a very easy and simple. It's correct, but it's very simple, okay? But you need to understand, if you know this is short term, this is long term, and you don't know what are the components in it, then you have a problem. Your mission statement actually entails the daily activities that you do in your company every single day. For instance, let's say if you want to finish your bachelor's degree in 3 years. Typically, it's 4 years, right? Let's say you want to finish your BSc in 3 years. Now, the vision is 3 years. But how do you reach the vision? You reach the vision through the mission. And the mission is the everyday steps you take to reach the vision. It's like you wake up in the morning, on Monday you go to class, you do assignments, you attend exams, you move on from first semester to next semester, to the third semester. These steps you are taking, it's a repetition as you go. And this repetition will lead you to your vision, to your destination. It's the same with business. So the things you do daily, they are your mission. The vision is where you want to be. And one thing I'll advise you from your vision statement, make sure your vision statement has an element of change. Please note that. Make sure your vision statement has an element of change. When I say an element of change, what do I mean? There should be some component that shows people that, hey, this vision is something that goes beyond here. For instance, if you look at Lejimbo, one of our mantra, we say this means more. It carries a lot of weight. When you say this means more, you're basically telling people more innovations are coming. I will read the vision of Lejimbo, and you can identify where the element of change is. Our vision says, our vision is to revolutionize the e-commerce industry in the Gambia, ability to better serve the Gambian market and create a better everyday life for people. This is our vision. Now, what is the element of change in our vision? I will read it one more time. Our vision is to revolutionize the e-commerce industry and yield the capability to better serve the Gambian market. So underline that word, the Gambian market. Now, when you hear that word, instantly you know, okay, this vision is subjected to change. Why? Because if we are able to secure and conquer the Gambian market, do we close down our business? No. We go back to the vision, we delete Gambia, and we put West Africa. When we achieve West Africa, we delete West Africa, we put Africa. We achieve Africa, we delete, we say global. So this is how you progress with your vision. So you can start your company and only serve Serekunda. That's it. You can start small. Serve Serekunda, have your vision at Serekunda. You finish Serekunda, then you say West Coast. Or you say KMC. And you progress like that. Okay? So your value proposition is what you communicate. What value do you offer to customers? And in business, we say your value is basically everything. Because people do not actually buy your product or service. No, they buy value. What value are you giving to them? Okay, so that is important. And you also list your core values of your company. Who are your principal members? Write them. the owner, you have the CEO, the marketing, but you know, but I will advise you something also with regards to the members. You know, CEO, for some reason, most Gambians, we play with the word CEO for some reason. This word is so heavy to the point that if you have international friends that are not Gambians and you tell them that you are a CEO, the way they look at you, it shows you the weight of the word. Chief Executive Officer. You order products from China, the products come to Gambia, you resell the products to customers, then you say CEO of our creation, CEO of Demba's Chaya. If Ebrima Dem is buying Chaya from Dongoroba and he's selling it at Serekunda, he says CEO of Ebrima Dem's Chaya. What is this? I don't really understand. Because, you know, I went for 3 years personally without accepting people calling me CEO. You can only have that structure when you can only have that title when you build a structure. If you have a structure, fine. At the beginning, just say business owner. Simple. Just say owner, or you say general manager. As simple as that. When you build a complete structure where you have marketing, finance, operations, and everything, then that title comes in. Okay? Because you have to differentiate between a business person and an entrepreneur. All entrepreneurs are business persons, but not all business persons are entrepreneurs. And it's important to understand this because entrepreneurship is about innovation. We don't have time, like really, because there are a lot of things to share. But I'll just go to the next slide, please. Yes, so the next slide is your product and service line. In this slide, please describe your product in detail. But 2 things you have to take note is include the features and benefits of your product. Please, in your plan, do not just list, these are my products, blah, blah, blah. What are you selling? Okay, I'm selling this, For every product that you list, include its benefit because it's important for the investor to realize that, okay, this product is not just any other product, but it's a product that is going to improve the lives of the people because that is how you solve problems. Next slide, please. Let's look at the market research. Okay, so the market research is where you highlight your industry. Here you talk about your industry. You talk about the SWOT analysis again. This, for some reason, this SWOT, I've never heard of this SWOT thing. Yeah, but when someone said it, it was very funny. So you have the SWOT analysis. You have your customer target. You know, define your target market and your competitive advantage. And please again, in your competitive advantage. That is why I did not explain it earlier. Ebrima Dem said it in his presentation. He said you have direct competitors and indirect competitors. So do not go to your plan and write that because a lot of people do this and investors are very picky about this. The moment they see this statement in your plan, probably 60% you have lost chance of investment. You cannot say, I do not have any competitors. It is even better to say there are little or no competitor. That line is better than saying there are no competitors. Because there's no way you can say there are no competitors. You can say there are no direct competitors. However, there are indirect competitors that have certain chunk of share in the market. A simple example is, if you want to start selling a phone in the Gambia, let's say a branded phone, okay, if there are no competition, like you don't have anyone selling, because sometimes it's not possible. It's possible to want to do something and you look around and there's no one doing it. It's possible. So directly, no competitors. But indirectly, there must be a competitor. And that competitor is the substitute product that people use if they do not use what you are selling. For instance, if you don't use a smartphone, what is the substitute that you can use? What are the devices that you can use that can do what smartphone is doing? If I don't have a smartphone now, I want to conduct this webinar, I can use my laptop. I can use my tablet. I can even use my smart TV. So every person that is selling a laptop, a tablet, a smart TV is my indirect competitor. Okay, so you have to take note of this. So that is why it's important to do that market research. Yeah. So the next slide, please, can you go to the next slide? Is marketing and sales. I think Ibudem said a lot about this. So I just want to focus on one thing, which is your communication and pricing structure. It is easy for you to start marketing your products online. we are in the advent of AI. You know, the internet was made available to the public around 1991, and that is why e-commerce is possible. That is why we have social media, and now we are in AI. What you can do is, it will be very difficult to start your business and want to advertise on TV, on radios. It's expensive, right? Utilize what you have on your own means and reach the people you need to reach. Facebook adverts are very good. They give you a lot of options, and you pay like $2 or $3. Your advert is going to run for 24 hours. The reason why I'm saying this is because in your finances, in your business plan, you're going to include your marketing fee. And anything that you wrote here, if you say you are going to advertise through TV, and in your financials, it is not indicated there, then there's a problem. That is why you need to look at the channels that are good for you to start doing your marketing, okay? And the sales plan, I want to say this one more time. The sales plan, there is a keyword there that is called your pricing structure. Because if you are coming into business, your price is what determines how much profit you are going to make, and it is what determines your break-even point. Your pricing structure is particularly important for investors because that is what they can use to be able to gauge if you can reach break-even in the next 2 years or 3 years. It's simple. Let's say you have a restaurant business, right? And you are selling 3 types of meals, and for each meal is costing $100, and you know you're going to get at least approximately 40 or 50 customers in a day. Now, if 50 customers are purchasing 3 meals in a day, that's 50 times 3, that's 150, and your product is costing 100 for each. Now you do 100 times 150. The total you get there is the amount of revenue you can accumulate approximately in 1 day. Then you use that amount and you times it by 7 days and you get 1 week. You times it by 1 month, and by 30 days you get 1 month. You use that amount, you times it by 12 months, and then you get your annual revenue, the estimated annual revenue. And when this trend continues 1 year, 2 years, like the investor will be able to use your price to determine when you reach break even. That is why it is important. Okay, break even is when you actually start making profit. Okay, let me explain that. Break even is the moment you start making profit. So if you start a business, you invest a certain amount in the business. Now you start working. The initial revenue that is coming, that is not profit. No, that is ROI, return on investment. And it stops when you hit break even. When you hit break even, then that's when you start making profits, right? Next slide, please. Let's look at the operations. So the operations plan is where you discuss about your daily operations, basically. So here you talk about your method of operations and your operating hours, because every business has different method of operations. So you have to indicate this clearly, right? There is another point which I don't think I captured in my slides, but it is in the business plan guide that I will share with you, is your management and structure. You know, so like I said earlier, if you have if you already have a team, put your team and their names, put them there if you have it. If you do not have a team and name, if you are the only person in the business at that moment, you put your name, business owner, and then you put the positions you want to fill in your business and leave the names blank because you don't have the names yet. Okay. And I forgot to explain something earlier on the legal structure. The legal structure means the type of business you are going to have. And it's important to categorize that clearly. If you are a sole proprietor? A sole proprietor means you are the only one going into the business. You are the sole owner, because the registration process is different. Every business needs registration, and you need to follow the laws, the business laws of that country. So if you are starting in Gambia, the first thing you do is you go to the Ministry of Justice and register your business. This is the first step upon doing your plan and getting investment and everything. If you are going into partnership, it means more than one. If it is 2 individuals or more, then that is a partnership, and the registration process is different as well. The other type is LLC, limited liability company or corporation, but this is not very paramount in the Gambia, but it is also another type of legal structure. So please identify this. Yeah. Last slide, please. Let's talk about the financials. So the financials is the most crucial part in your plan. Why? Because it deals with money. It deals with money. We don't really have time. I saw someone said tell us how to make money. It is actually very sad that we are not taught how to make money in schools, and this is not our fault. It's a systematically global design approach to sway us from thinking how to get rich. Because the rich people are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. They know that if we know what they know, then no one is going to work for them. No one will work for governments. No one will work for businesses. Even if your ceiling has a problem at home, no one is going to fix it for you because everyone is rich. That is why they keep the secret away from us. Yeah, but it's we don't have time to discuss that. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime later, inshallah. Yeah, but the financials is the most important part because investors are very petty. They want to know where they are putting their money. If you mess up a bit in your financials, it's game over. You can have all your marketings, your product explanation, fine. The financials, some investors will read your executive summary and then they will run to your financials instantly. Okay, so in here, remember, there are two types of plans also. Because here we are dealing with new businesses, that's why. But if you are already in business and you are writing a business plan to update, you cannot have a startup financing requirement because you are already in business. But if you are a new person or you are an aspiring entrepreneur trying to venture into business, then you need to have your startup financing requirement. And remember the word, I said minimum startup financing. It means minimum, what do you need to be able to start? You need to have that. And when you have that, you need to break it down. How will you spend this money? And this is why I spoke about marketing earlier. If you say that you are using social media marketing, and we know approximately social media marketing is around roughly $100, and then you come to your marketing budget in your financials and you put $2,000, that will give a bad hint to that is a red flag to the investor because they will think that you want to use $200 for marketing, but you wrote 2,000. Now, where is the rest of the money going to? They will think that there is a foul play in this game, and then you lose it. Make sure every little detail you type in your financials. I'm not saying you need to get the accurate pricing for every single thing, but you need to get the approximate price. And that's why it's important to do your research. You cannot get this data if you don't do the research. Do the research on the internet or ask people that have experience purchasing some of these things, and then have it structured. And then you need to also include your forecasted income. Like this is called projected because it is not something that is very, very actual. But you can do this also through your pricing structure. That is why I spend time explaining the pricing structure. Because from that, you will be able to forecast your income. Okay? And you need to also have a cash flow statements. Basically, it is not very much required at the beginning, but you can also do a forecasted one. Okay? Because the difference between asset and liability is simple. We are taught in school that asset is something that you own. But in essence, this is a wrong projection. Because for you to be able to differentiate asset and liabilities, you need to ask yourself, where is the money going? If what you have is taking money from you, that is a liability. If it is bringing money to your pocket, it's an asset. For instance, if you have a house and your house is taking money from you every single day, or you have a car, if you have a car, you're fixing the car with the mechanic, you're buying fuel every day, every now and then you have a breakdown, that car is a liability. But if the same car is a transportation car and it is going out there as a taxi and is bringing income to your pocket, then it's an asset. So cash flow, and that is why it is said in financial terms that your ability to understand cash flow determines your financial literacy level. So I really needed to hint that, so you take note of that as you prepare your financials. I think that's the end of the presentations. So thank you very much. I just want to end with one final closing, which is that because this topic is really focused on business plan, that is why I did not talk about the entrepreneurial mindset. But my PhD research is actually focused on the entrepreneurial mindset, because the mindset is one of the most important components for an entrepreneur. That is why we have this slogan in Lejimbo where we say, Yepsi mind bila. Te Yepsi mind bila. There is nothing you can do without your mind. So you need to have a positive mindset, because you are aspiring to build a business in a country that is facing a lot of challenges. It's a developing country. And in a developing country, we have a lot of, we call it a fragile system, because We have issues with infrastructure. We have lack of access to capital. We have political issues going on there, here and there. So for you to be able to succeed in this type of conditions, you need to stay resilient. And how do you stay resilient? You need to cultivate a very, very strong mindset. Okay. And that mindset comes with 3 patterns. You need to be patient, you need to be persistent, and you need to be passionate. The first P is patience. Do not start a business with the idea that you will become a millionaire tomorrow. It's not possible. All these successful entrepreneurs you see, they have been in business for years. You need to be patient in what you do in order to achieve your destination. It's not easy as you think. So you have to be patient in what you do. That is why I said in the beginning, please underline the word process, because entrepreneurship is a process. The second P is persistence. In Gambia, you have to be really persistent. There are so many things that will demotivate you to quit. And it's funny that you see, if you get the data of how many young Gambians start businesses in a year, it's absolutely amazing. You can have thousands that start business in 2026, but before June, already 900 of them are out of business. Or when you ask them, they say, it's because there is no persistence. You fail and then you quit. And failure is part of the process. There is no way you can succeed in business without failing, because the journey of being an entrepreneur is not silky smooth as it appears. It's like a zigzag. It goes up, it goes down. But when it goes down, what do you do? Because if you say this is my dream, you have to understand that you will get knocked down a lot of times chasing that dream. But when you are down, what do you do? Do you stay down or do you get back up? That is your choice. As long as you are getting up, you can never fail if you are getting up. If you guys watch boxing, if you know boxing match, if you are punched and you go down, the match is not over. It's only over when you stay down. The last one is passion. For me personally, I've always been saying this: passion is everything. It's key, it's the energy, it's everything. Because as like, in as much as you want to start a business, make sure that idea that you want to start or that problem you want to solve, make sure it is something that you have passion for. I will tell you the truth blatantly. Your business idea can be as amazing as possible, but if you are not passionate about it, the only way it can succeed is for you to leave the leadership position and employ a new leader for it to succeed. Because if you stay there without passion, it will fail. Because if you love what you do, naturally it becomes a hobby. You wake up in the morning, you are happy. You're going to work, you are happy. You know, you're working on your stuff, you are happy. So you don't get tired doing what you love. Okay. So my advice is get something that you are passionate about. Do not get a business for the sake of Damabuga start dara, Damabuga nega CEO. No. Make sure you love what you do. And hopefully I want to thank once again all the organizers and this association. This is absolutely a tremendous initiative. I hope that some businesses will come out of this initiative that will actually solve crucial societal problems in the Gambia. That is the Gambia that we all hope for. And I think this young generation is the hope that can transform our country. So thank you very much. I wish you guys all the best in your endeavors. That is all from me. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Mohammed, thank you so very much. Honestly, I'm really inspired, to be honest. And then I think what you said, it's all about passion. And yes, Siman Bila. So no problem. Inshallah, we have a lot of investors in this webinar here. So I know some of those fake investors will start to invest in their business ideas and make it a fruitful one. Okay, without wasting much time, Bahar, I think we can move to the question and answer session. Which,
Yeah,
if any
thank
one
you.
of you have a question, you can raise up your hand, and then perhaps we will start with our host.
Yeah, before someone comes, yeah, I think Fatima has said it. You can raise your hand through where we will call individual to raise questions. Mr. Jao, thank you so much for this inspiring presentation. Yeah, I think the very important thing you said is the process. Let's trust the process. Let's trust the process. And by grace of God, it will work. And I used to heard about this. I don't know how is it, but because they used to say normally your first startup will most fail. When you start an entrepreneurship business, the first one fail. Almost 90 or 99% percent of them fail. So, and the only thing that the way you can work it out is trust the process, and you will fall, get up, stand up, and trust the process, and slowly you will make it one day. Yeah. So my first question, I don't know, them is it around?
Bakari,
Yeah.
before you move any further,
Yeah.
please, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our former president, Mr. Ebrima Dem, for gracing this occasion and being here to learn this inspiring journey with us from Ibrahim and Muhammad. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President, for joining us. Yeah, Mr. This question is for Mr. Dem. So we talk about the market research. Um, I want to know, as an entrepreneur, when you do this market research, how do you determine it that the business is growing, is stable, and whether it is declining? So how do you know? I hope you get my question, Mr. Dem.
Um, Sorry, I have transferred. I'm in an entire different public space right now, and I hope you can hear me down there. So if
Yeah,
I
you
get
are
your
loud
question
and
right,
clear.
it reads, yes. If I get your question right, it reads about. Um, can you please just rephrase your question again, please?
Yeah. How after market research, how do you determine that your business is growing or declining or stable? You got it.
Yes. That's good. Good. So you know what we call record keeping in business, right? Let's put it in this perspective. Let's say you are already into business. Let's say now it is normal a start. You have already actually started the business. So you have started the business for 2 years, and now you want to know how well is your business doing. So there's a data. Let's say, for instance, there's technology integrated in your business. Maybe you have done data analytics. So the data still it reflects back. Let's say you are selling a product. How much have you sold per month? Or what is your most selling product? And how are people reacting to that particular product? You see that data because it's based on the recordings that you keep. So if you analyze the data now, you will know whether your business is actually going upscale or downscale. So let's say, for example, your business is going downscale. What do you need to do as a business owner to know as to why that business is going on a downscale? What is that thing that I'm not doing? And what is that thing that I need to do different to make sure that my business will go upscale? Because now the data will be showing you, let's say from year one, you made a profit of, you made a sales, total revenue sales of 100,000. Then you go year two, the sales dropped to 50,000. Year three, the sales went up high. So if you're not analyzing as to why your sales is going in this direction, would you be able to fix that problem? Because there's no sustainability part, there's no stable balance. So how do you ensure that there's a stable balance? Is by knowing, okay, year one, I have made 100,000. That's the data that I have recorded, and how did I arise to that 100,000? Then you go to year two. What was the reason why I came back to 50,000? Maybe there was a threat in the market. Maybe something happened that COVID hit, or something happened that like is a threat that resulted to your business to go down. Let's say 2026 election is coming, right? In the Gambia. Let's say you were doing this particular business, and in 2026 election now, your business, instead of making high profit, it decided to go down. The profit that you usually make in a particular year has dropped based on what, because of the political avenues that are happening. So these are things that you need to know as to why your business is going upscale or downscale. So it is the recording that is going to help you. Without proper recording, you will not be able to identify those loopholes or the upscales of the business. I hope that answers your question.
So Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Mr. Jawo. And yeah, my second question will be for Mr. Jao. Yeah, Mr. Jao, I think you talk about let's let's find out about when we are about to start up a business. Let's go visit GCCI and GISPA. Is it GISPA? GIEPA. Yeah. So can you give us some information about this? What information did we need from them? What will trigger us to go there and maybe have this information from them? Because people will sit at the corner, want to start up a business, but how to start and where to start is the main problem in the Gambia normally. So this, I hope these two regulators are very crucial in setting up a business entrepreneurship in the Gambia.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. It's a very important one. So what I was trying to emphasize is that if you are in the Gambia or if you're not in the Gambia right now, when you return to the Gambia, because we have a whole chamber that is specifically meant for youths, which is the Youth Chamber of Commerce, the Gambia Youth Chamber of Commerce, GYCC. So you can visit there and also, speak with them and be part of their ecosystem, because they have a WhatsApp group and all registered members are there. And in that group, a lot of opportunities are shared that, that where you can find opportunities to pitch your idea. You can meet a potential investor, and you can also create a good network among young entrepreneurs within the country. This is good. The second one is GCCI, which is the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, because they are they are the regulatory of businesses within the country. And for external donors or external organizations, when they come to Gambia, these are the organizations they visit. A lot of opportunities are coming to Gambia for business development, but the issue is the people don't know. So when you go there and then you will have a front staff that will meet you, of course. You explain that you are a young business person, you want to start a business, this is your idea. You need someone to guide you as a mentor, to advise you, or to help you get access to opportunities. Let's say, for instance, you just have a plan, you don't have money, you don't have an investor, you are new in Gambia, so you can go there and they can expose you to competitions that are coming, pitch competitions, and you can join these competitions. And as long as you are in their network, you'll be able to come across a lot of opportunities. And some of their staffs, they are also very helpful in terms of explaining to you the Gambian market, or let's say if you need data about certain informations in the Gambia, like which businesses are more viable for investment, you can utilize these resources. It is far better than sitting at your own corner, trying to figure everything out, when you have key players that can actually help you. Yeah. So that was it. That was why I mentioned these institutions. You can make use of them, because these institutions are actually there for us. So if we don't make use of them, then all these opportunities, they just come and go. Yeah. Thank you very much for that question, though.
Thank you so much for yeah. I think, as you said, these are there for us. Yeah, because someone told me about this that even Ministry of Youth and Sport, sometimes they have this potential investment potentials that they have there, but the youths in the Gambia are not utilizing them and they are not going for them. So
Yeah.
thank you for this information. I think this will help if any of us want to make a startup. So I think the floor will be open for questions. I think number one is Mr. President Sajo Eke Jajo. Can you comment?
Yeah, good evening once again, and thank you very much, Mr. Jane, for letting me in, and of course, our lecturers. I've never known that Fullers could be this smart, but thanks to us. So, yes, I would equally like to extend my regards to our alumni that are joining us, from the president, the logistics minister, and of course, the deputy social and welfare of the EVE Executive Council. Thank you also very much for gracing this occasion with us. So, and also, I have a class my class prefect joining us here by the name of Ebrima Dem. You're most welcome, Abba, to this webinar. So my question would be framed in this way. That is, during your deliberation, that is Mr. Jawo, you made a mention of airline companies or like how one would be able to form one. So as somebody that is not from the commerce stream, a student of the sciences, of course, an aeronautical engineering student, that grabbed my attention, and I believe it will be quite important or imperative to bring in that said. So, like, what when it comes to setting an airline, there are a lot of prerequisites and things like that that one has to have to ensure that you're able to have an airline. And the fact that you talk about patience, persistence, and of course, passion, how do we reconcile this if one wants to, wants to start an airline company in the Gambia? Like, what advice would you give to that particular individual with regards to it? Because as people from the aeronautical domain, we're made to understand that when you get to this manufacturing processes and production techniques as courses, sometimes there you have challenges in the third world countries where we happen to be part of to some extent. So what advice would you give to some of us that have such mindsets of having airline companies in the Gambia? Because time and again we will be having such conversations here, myself with my roomie saying we will have Kiang International Airlines, we would have Kauri International Airlines. So what advice would you give? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah, I understand that Fullers. One thing I know, Fullers, they love it. They love to eat. They love eating so much, especially my type. But we are also good somehow. Yeah. So thank you very much for that question. That was a very good question. So during my explanation, I was actually highlighting, uh, looking at the resources. If you want to start a business in the Gambia that is so big, because opening or starting an airline business is actually a big venture. It's not a small venture. So you need to go big because we're talking about airline and there are so many things involved. So I was looking at the resource availability, because it comes with a lot of things, right? Because first you have to, of course, it all starts with the business plan and securing the investment. But during the registration, you have to do the commercial registry, you have to link with the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority and all these things. So it involves a lot of process, right? And but I think it gets easier if you get partners that are very experienced. Let's say if you get external partners that supports your venture, then you come back to Gambia to start this initiative. Then it is something that, of course, regulatory wise, it's going to be very difficult because you have to undergo a lot of, processes, so much legal and operational requirements because it's airline. But one thing I know for certain, if you believe in yourself and you believe in what you want to do, then things will fall into place. The first thing you can do is not to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, then no one is going to believe in you, point blank. But within the Gambia framework, there are a lot of things you have to do, and you will be frustrated. Yeah, they're going to frustrate you a lot. I know this, especially if you have foreign partners, because within the Gambian structure, we are still battling corruption. There are people in certain offices that would see you as someone very rich, or your partners are giving you a lot of money, and they will want you to give them some kickbacks and all these things. So you will get frustrated. But when I spoke about these three P's, it was a general advice basically for all type of businesses, but for this airline business, you will need more patience and persistence. For passion, I think it's a general term for everyone. The reason is, looking at the Gambian landscape, the airline industry is still very, very low. We still do not have, I don't think we have like an airline that travels internationally. Senegal has one, but Gambia, we used to have Gambia Airline. I don't know what happened to it. It looked like the plane is wretched now. But it will need a lot of, framework. And we will be very excited to see you come up with something like this so that every member in this association will start to travel for free. I believe, Mr. President, you will give us free flights. But it's a good initiative. But you're going to face a lot of problems and you're going to fail also. When I say you are going to fail, I'm not scaring you. I'm emphasizing on the word persistence. And failure can come from any point. Recently, one of my research papers that I published, and I got the data from Gambia, it shows that, and this is a global scale, but it is replicated in the Gambia, that over 90% of businesses fail in the first year. And only 20% of those businesses, they can pass the 5th year mark. And this statistic is a very scary number, because if 90% of businesses are failing in the first year of operations, then what is the problem? The problem is they are not persistent in what they do. Because when they start, the idea was to be a billionaire, to have, a free life where you will not get a boss to tell you do this. So you are your own boss. You can travel the world, and all the people you see doing these things, they have failed rather repeatedly. So you need to master that. You fail, you get up. For me personally, I don't like to use the word failure because it scares people, because a lot of us have fear of failing. And this is as a result of the society we are in. We live in a society where if you fail, basically sometimes it feels like there is a lot of pressure from the society that if you fail, it's something catastrophic. And that is why a lot of people fear failing. But failure is normal. And for me personally, I said earlier, I don't like to use the word failure because I don't think you fail. It's two things. It's either you win or you learn. For me, you don't fail, because that failure is a stepping stone towards what you want to achieve, because you are learning from it. If you fail the first time, you will not repeat that failure again. So that is a learning process. Then you move on. Then as you go, you keep learning. And then if you read the stories of Jack Ma, Elon Musk, and all these top entrepreneurs, you will see how many times they have failed. So I think everyone should give Mr. President all our support, and we should, help him realize this dream. If it is your dream, we will put all investments, because I know everybody wants to travel the world with your airline, of course, with discounted prices.
Thank you so much for that wonderful question. Sajo, I think your question has been answered. We are waiting for the free flight. Okay, second on the line, we have Maud Lewis. But Maud Lewis, I think our VP, you will give chance to Yahya to ask this question. At least this is the opportunity he has to become a proper investor. Yahya, you may comment, please.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to everyone. First, before I ask my question, I would like to thank the speakers for today, that is Mr. Jawo and Mr. Dem. And then I would also like to thank the 9 executive for such a wonderful initiative. So my question will be directed to Mr. Jawo. And then the question is about pricing per se, and then marketing for let's say for startups or for small entrepreneurs that are coming up. I don't know, a few months back, I read a book written by Simon Sinek. He made mention that there are only 2 ways you can influence people. That is human behavior. He said you either manipulate it or you inspire it. So for him, he talked about price, companies using price game in order to manipulate people. And then he said something like, if sellers are selling based on the price, let's say you are selling lower prices, and then until you made your customers or people to get used to such lower prices or average prices, it becomes very, very difficult to raise the prices in the long run, because price is like heroin or a drug that you take, or a marijuana. Once people are used to lower prices, it's very, very difficult for you as an entrepreneur to raise prices in the future. So my question is like this. At some point, even I once fall a victim of it, starting a small business, and then you decided, okay, let me charge smaller prices in order to penetrate the market, or in order to have more customers in the beginning after doing all your research. And then in future, it becomes very, very difficult for you to raise your prices. So the question is that, how are you going to make so as an entrepreneur from the starting point you start asking the right price? How are you going to know that this is the right price that you are supposed to ask your customers for the value that you are giving them? Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question. That is a very, very good question. Yes, so you talk about human behavior and manipulation, right? So yeah, it's true. I don't know if you've ever heard of the phrase called predatory pricing. There is something called predatory pricing, and most big companies use it a lot to deal with small companies. It's like if you go to the Gambia now, Africell is a big player, or Comium, or QCell. If you want to start a business of selling, megabytes or anything, and then you want to set your price. If you set your price at, let's say, $100 is for, let's say, 50 megabytes, yeah, it's just a sample. Africell can come and say, okay, $100 is for 5 gig. Africell is giving $100 for 5 gig, 5 GB, and you are doing it for 5. So the difference is huge. Or if a company is selling, let's say, a phone, a smartphone that is costing 8,000 for your business, and then a company comes in and starts selling that product at 2,000. What do you think? All customers will go and purchase from that big company, because the intention of that company is to drive you away from the market. So as soon as you go out of the market, because here's the thing, if you set your price 2,000, you will face losses. If you set at 8,000, you will make profit. Now this big company is so big that even if they set their price at 2,000, for the next 3 years or 5 years, it will not affect them because they're a big giant company. So they will do that because you cannot drop from 8,000 to 2,000. So you'll be forced to go out of the market. When you go out of the market, they will increase the prices back. That is predatory pricing. It's actually criminalized in certain countries. It's not allowed. In Gambia, we don't have any law for this. But coming back to your question, it's better to influence prices than to manipulate, because when you manipulate prices, you are playing a big risk. Because once people realize that you are using the manipulation game, or another company comes in that has the same size with you and starts doing the right thing, then you suffer. And we've seen a typical example of Comium. When Comium came, they started selling megabyte prices that are actually, a bit favorable to, even though what Comium is selling is still not good for Gambians, because we know how internet is cheap in other countries. Gambia is one of the most expensive countries in terms of internet. But when Comium came and they were doing the right thing to a certain scale, what happened? We all shifted to Comium. I even saw someone wrote here, I love Comium, or I need Comium. So when we went to Comium, what happened with Africell and the others? Then the entire Gambian population realized that, okay, these people were playing the manipulative game with us, and people were so pissed off at them. So it is not good. But as a young person starting a business, if you want to determine your price, it's easy. What you do is you have to calculate the entire production process of what you are offering. If it is a product, how much money did you invest in the production stage, in the let's say the packaging stage, the distribution stage? Calculate all this money. If let's say even if you are purchasing product from India and taking it to Gambia, if you want to sell, what you do is you calculate everything, the shipping fee, how much you got the product for. When you calculate all this, then you know the price that you can sell without hurting yourself. When I say without hurting yourself, I mean without facing losses. So you will not affect the Gambian population, but you will also at least make profit to be able to sustain your business. Another thing you spoke about is after you start, and then for a while, maybe let's say after 1 year, you want to drop your prices down. Then how would you go about that? For a small business, a lot of people are, it's actually a marketing strategy to penetrate the market. You lower your prices. When you secure the customers, then you increase. A lot of companies do that. But fine. The problem comes in if you want to increase the price with the same quality, then there is a problem. So make sure when you are trying to increase the price, have an element of quality that has been increased in what you are selling. If it is a product or a service, increase the quality, because people are purchasing your value, not what you are selling. So make sure there is a value that you increased in what you are selling, and then increase the price along with that and communicate it clearly. Use all your marketing powers and communicate that you have added this, and this is your new price, but you still stick to your mission and your vision. That is what you communicate. Look at Apple. Did you see what Apple is doing with the iPhone? The price is increased every single year. Sometimes in 9 months, a new phone is out. And the phone that is out is more expensive than the previous version. But people are still purchasing. Are they not purchasing? They are purchasing. I know there are people in this webinar, if you don't get iPhone for them, you are finished. Let's say if you are married and your wife needs the new phone, if you don't purchase that one, you are finished. So, and people are still purchasing. Party is laughing. I don't know why. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. But if you are suffering from that, sorry. But people will still buy because people are looking at value. Okay, so that is my advice. Make sure you increase your price with value. As long as you do that, you'll be able to sell and you will stay relevant in the market. But again, do not manipulate the prices. Try to influence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that one as well. Time is going, and still now we have 3 more hands. Okay, Mod Louis, we will let you in for this time. Please make your questions precise.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yeah, sorry for joining in late. I missed most of the part, like Mr. Dem's presentation. But I came in when Mr. Jawo was talking about copy and paste in the Gambia. And that is really a big problem to me. Yeah, it's something I hate about Gambian business men, or I would say entrepreneurs in general. Yeah, so my question is the framework you have for, or you sent Mustafa for a business startup. If you want to, like, let's say, have a partnership with someone or someone who has already started a business and you see loopholes, like that reverse, what to call it again?
Brainstorming.
That reverse brainstorming you are talking about. Yeah. So, generally, to me, personally, I do that a lot because I'm from the tech field. So, it's kind of difficult to have a new startup or a new business. So, that reverse psychology, I look at loopholes in the tech industry in the Gambia, which I try and see the way I can solve it. So, are you going to use the same framework, like the framework you sent to start up a new business? If you want to meet a new partner or an entrepreneur and you want a partnership with that person, are you going to use that same framework with the little things you want to add to his or her business? Or that is not possible. You have to start your own business startup. Then, if you want partnership, you look for other new partnership. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Modu, for that question. I'll just make it brief because it's also very late here. So I think what you need to do in your case, it depends what legal structure you are looking at. If you want to start as a sole proprietor, then you are starting alone. But if you think there is someone that is already out there in the market, and then you can add value to what they do, you can actually approach them and then propose a partnership. If they accept the partnership, then fine. You propose what you are bringing to the table and you go to partnership with them. Partnership has its own advantages and disadvantages, so you can read about that and then make your choice. But what is important is if you are going into partnership with someone, make sure they are a person that has the same vision and alignment as you. Okay, that is very important to avoid disputes in the future. But let's say you are starting yourself. If you are starting as a sole proprietor, just identify problems. If you identify problems, like you said you love the reverse method, fine. If you do that and then you finally, because both the brainstorm and the reverse, it all leads to one thing. It all leads to solutions to starting a business. So if that business is something that you think is very innovative, then you go for it. Okay, but if you think someone is already doing that business, you can still go for that same business. I'm not saying if someone is doing something, then you're not supposed to do that. No. If someone is doing something, you have two ways. Find issues in what they do, the loopholes, the problems, and try to close those gaps. Then you are still innovative. Or you do what we call benchmarking. You benchmark all the companies that you can, and you identify the good things and the bad things they're doing. The bad things they're doing, you try to check if their customer ratings are good or not. You can find these customer ratings on Google, on their Facebook pages, everywhere, because people now write recommendations. Then you identify these things, and then you fix these problems. Then you can still be categorized as an innovative entrepreneur. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Model Louis, our able VP, I hope that answered your question. Oh, Mr. Jao, there is a question in the chat box, which is how to navigate through this copycat with people who have more financial muscles than you. And he said the second question is, do you think xenocentrism exists in the Gambia?
Sorry, can you say the second question?
He said it is in the chat box. He said, do you think xenocentrism exists in the Gambia?
Yes. So the first question about the copycat thing, you know, and that is why I will tell you something which I forgot in the explanation of the business plan here. Do not share your plan to someone. Like you do not send your entire business plan to someone, even if they are an investor. The first time you are communicating with them online, if they say, okay, send me your plan, what you do, send them the executive summary. That is why I said the executive summary, it's very, very important. Okay, because you need to have a business plan and have an executive summary document. If the investor is serious about investing in you, when you send them your executive summary, if they are interested, they will schedule a meeting with you, and then you go and pitch your idea. Because if you send them your entire plan, you might see your plan being implemented in the next few months, and they will not get back to you. We have seen this case